Greetings all and welcome to the 19th Channel News, where we deliver you the most important topics of the day. With all the hubba surrounding the 19th Amendment being ratified, we thought we'd kind of break down how we got here and what the future looks like. We're going to discuss the bad, the worse, and the very, very ugly. Folks, let me preface, if ratified, this could be the end of the traditional American household that has worked perfectly fine. The Second of Falls Convention was a large gathering of women to discuss their unequal rights. The two largest claims were all men and women are created equal, and men, their rights nothing more, women, their rights are nothing less. Now this rally is entirely unwomanly, and the reforms they're gathering support for are just unnecessary. I mean, because of the leaders of this convention, Elizabeth Cady Stanton something and Lucretia Mott, unimportant. The attendees got a Declaration of Sentiments, which is modeled after our Declaration of Independence, and then proceeded to mock it by asking for women's rights, including the right to vote, which is on the top of everyone's minds right now. From this meeting, several groups of women rights activists formed, the two most important being National Women's Suffrage Association, NWSA, and American Women's Suffrage Association, AWSA. I'm going to hand you off to my partner to give you some more information on this questionable group of women.
Yes, thank you, Ronick. These really wonderful and inspiring groups of women were all really fighting towards the same goal. Small differences. The NWSA, led by Stanton and the powerful Susan B. Anthony, had an aggressive approach where they aimed to go straight to the federal level to get what they wanted. On the other hand, the AWSA, which was led by Lucy Stone, fiercely called out the government for forcing women to bear the burden of taxation without representation, which is tyranny. Now, dear viewer, you may be thinking, why is the AWSA considered the calmer association when Miss Stone challenged the government directly? What could possibly be more provocative than that? And, dear viewer, I would answer you by first fast-forwarding to 1872. On November 5th, 1872, in Rochester, New York, Susan B. Anthony took a stand for all 19 million women across the U.S.
and broke the law illegally, which is not allowed. This woman cast a ballot for Ulysses S. Grant in the presidential election as a woman, which let me restate, is not allowed. Susan was determined to break the law for future President Grant after persuading the Republican Party to support women's rights in its 1872 platform. She wanted to show how grateful for them she was, while standing up for her own cause. Now, us here at Channel 19 News took to the streets at the time and gathered that most people had one of two opinions. Either she was a defiant hero for women's rights, or plain and simple, a lawbreaker. Now, this whole right to vote thing didn't really get much traction until it was introduced to Congress 6 years later.
The then California Senator Aaron A. Sargent introduced the 19 words into Congress that we are now fighting for to become the 19th Amendment, allowing women the right to vote. He and his wife, in the struggle for women's suffrage, became good friends with popular activists such as Susan B. Anthony. When Senator Sargent first introduced it, it was known as the Federal Women's Suffrage Amendment. It was debated and later rejected in 1887. But 40 years later, justice persisted, and we are on the verge of winning the battle. It's something that definitely helped unite not just women, but citizens all across America, was the great merging of the National Women's Suffrage Association and the American Women's Suffrage Association.
The stupid merger of these two stupid associations resulted in the super duper stupid mega association, otherwise known as the National American Women's Suffrage Association, and took the battle from a few tiny little girls' tantrums into a nationwide movement which gathered a lot of attention. They merged in order to have no schism nor division in the forces working for the enfranchisement of women. Now, the united effort was primarily led by people like Carrie Chapman Catt, again, unimportant, and shifted focus back to winning suffrage at the statewide level while also trying to lobby for the official amendment. This is the period where the safety of the traditional and stable and American household really came to be in peril. The people's concern on this topic only rose in the surge of these large protests and other women I don't know, whatever, what women's suffrage activities, I guess.
This parade took place in Washington, D.C. on the day before President Woodrow Wilson's inauguration. And what was originally a peaceful protest quickly turned violent when a hostile crowd attacked the thousands of women there. Police were meant to protect the women gathered, but most did not provide any amount of adequate protection. Patricia M. Street testifies that when she pleaded with the policeman to step in and protect a woman from being attacked, the policeman replied, "There would be nothing like this happen if you would stay at home." In spite of the country being against them, in spite of needing to crawl their way to the front page while being knocked down over and over again, women stand here today, one vote away from the ratification of the 19th Amendment.
Our timeline of this whole women's suffrage thing. Gentlemen and ladies, see you next 1 minute. Are you sure? Are you... What? Oh, no, this cannot be right. Are you sure? Oh my god, no. Oh my god, why would they ever do that? What the... No, are they stupid? What about the traditional and stable household? No!
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that war is over. The fight for justice can cease in the context of this cause, because we have just received word that Tennessee has said yes, and the 19th Amendment of the United States of America has been ratified. Women are no longer only working in domestic areas. They have shot up into the political hemisphere, where I'm sure they will make changes for the better. They bring along with them half of the country's population and expertise in fundamental issues that men simply lack. It is time to wave goodbye to the country you thought you knew, because on this historic day, democracy and every other part of the U.S. will dramatically change.